How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Milton Asian channel. Today we're unboxing and having a look at the Dell U2719D 2K monitor. Okay guys, now if you find this video useful, then please drop a like and subscribe down below. It really helps me out. So this is the Dell U2719D. It's like a professional monitor. So the box does come with actually nice kind of colour, like a satin finish box to keep it protected while it's in movement, which is always good to see. Now Dell do package their stuff well because they're quite a professional company and you don't get like the brown box that you kind of get with the other stuff. So that's the front of it there. On the side you just got your kind of packaging, you know, serial information, that kind of stuff. There it tells you a bit more about what's inside it and there, and then here it tells you about the different connections down below, so you know what you get inside. So let's just crack this thing open here. So you just need to hold it open there. It's got a nice carrier handle at the top there, and then you lie it flat and then the whole thing opens out like that. Okay, so let's just have a look what we get inside. Okay guys, now inside the box you do actually get these things. So here we go, we've got the like a USB 3.0B cable that goes to the USB. It's quite a nice good quality cable as well. You obviously get the power cable as well, which is just your standard kettle lead type cable. You also get here a full-size DisplayPort to DisplayPort cable as well, again good quality. Obviously here you've got your energy rating card, you've got your calibration factory port as well, because it comes factory calibrated to the sRGB, which is always good to see with Dell monitors. You obviously have your quick start guide as well, and you've got your label on the front which kind of tells you where that is, and you've got your warranty information pack as well. Now when you get this stand and the neck out, it's a good idea to actually leave the monitor display inside the box because it's the safest way of doing it. So the stand kind of fits together by itself. So what you can do is get yourself the base and then attach it to here, which is the back, obviously the bottom of the actual stand itself, and then screw that in first, which is a normal thumb screw type. You can obviously use a screwdriver to tighten it a bit further, but you got that there. So once that's in, it's a very nice looking stand with a little protective cover over the Dell logo. Once you've got that in, this thing just clicks straight into the actual back of the monitor itself while it's in the box. So there's no screws involved. All you got to do is just slot it in there, and then it kind of attaches on there. And then you can pull the whole thing out of the monitor, out the box. Once that's safely in, you can actually just lift the whole panel out there nice and safely, and it's secure on the thing itself. So I'm just going to put this here. Obviously you've got this protective film on it there, so you know, which is on the actual panel. So we'll just kind of peel that away there, and there's nothing else in the box, so we'll just put that down here. Okay. Now this is a very good looking panel when it's turned off. So you've got the kind of, it's not a full-on matte finish to the display. It's actually a like a semi-gloss kind of satin finish, but it's not full-on like gloss like you get, you know, on a TV there, which is kind of nice to see as well. So obviously you've got all these different connections here on the back. So we've got the power connection here, which is the standard kettle lead type. We've got the HDMI as well, full-size display port, another full-size display port. So what's strange is that this one actually has a guard on it there, but the other ones don't, so that's a bit weird. We've got it looks like a sound audio port there. We've got the USB-A cable, and obviously we've got the two USB cables as well that are 0.3 there as well. And then over here, we have a Kensington lock. On the right hand side of the bottom of the panel, you've got also an additional two USB 3.0 ports. Now the design of this panel is actually brilliant. It's a really slim profile as well. It's a really professional looking monitor that you know, that isn't too far from what Apple kind of do. You know, it looks like, I mean, it looks like a unibody, but it's not. I mean, you are getting the from the back here. I'll just show you that. So it is getting this kind of titanium kind of silver looking gunmetal kind of color there. Very slim profile, very smooth, and you've got the matte kind of finish there at the bottom as well. From the front, obviously really thin bezels on this thing. And it's a very thin profile on the side as well. You've got the small Dell logo there as well. You can actually rotate this thing as well, any direction you choose as well, which is kind of good. So if you've got two maybe next to each other, you can have one landscape, and then once you move this all the way up, you can have that on the portrait like that. So that's great for doing stuff like coding, or if you want to read along a spreadsheet or something like that, or a whole web page. You can do that in the portrait mode as well. You can just flip that around that dead easy. You have to have the stand elevated to the utmost top position for it to actually swivel around like that. So that's something to bear in mind. You also got here at the back a nice section where you can route your cables through as well. So once you've got your power cables and all the rest of it inside there, you can actually route the cables through the bottom there, and then it makes it nice and neat for your cable management, which will go straight to your plug socket on the wall. So I'm going to just plug this thing into a laptop so you can actually see what it looks like when it's turned on. So here's the laptop plugged in. As you can see, we're just running some 2K content here. So as I mentioned earlier, it's a 2560 by 1440 panel in here, IPS as well. So that means your colors are going to look really vibrant and they're going to stand out, look really nice. So this makes it great for like photo editing, or if you're using Adobe Lightroom, or maybe do some mild photo editing, it'd be great for that kind of stuff. Being 2560 by 1440 as well, you can fit a lot of content on the screen. For example, a Excel spreadsheet, which I'm going to just open up now. As you can see, with a spreadsheet on 2560 by 1440, you can hold a lot of the information there all throughout the display, because you've got the extra real estate when compared to a 1920 by 1080 panel. Additionally, with this particular Dell panel, because obviously you can rotate it completely 90 degrees, will make it really good for spreadsheets as well, where you've got a lot of long information. So if I just rotate this now, you can have a look. So here, rotated, as you can see, it makes it great for consuming web content, or if you had maybe some Word documents, a really long one, in a portrait mode, consuming that type of content works really well. And now, if you had two of these monitors, for example, you can have one landscape, one portrait, which would make it great for something like Adobe Dreamweaver, where you need to do some coding, HTML, because the majority of people that are going to be going after this monitor will be professionals that will be using those types of programs. Now, being an IPS panel, one advantage that the Dell has is the viewing angles as well. So say if I was to tilt this, maybe towards this way, you can see that the colors kind of still look good. This is the maximum tilt swivel it's got, so it won't go any further than that. But the colors from even like that kind of viewing angle will still look really good, which is kind of good to know if, for example, you have got two next to each other and you are viewing them both at an angle. At least your colors won't suffer there as well. So the viewing angles on this particular monitor is really good. Another thing that I'm going to mention is the local dimming. Now this monitor itself hasn't got any local dimming, which means it's an edge lit panel. So what that will probably mean to you is, if you are looking at a really dark scene such as something like this, where you've got something bright in the middle, you will get that blooming around the edges, but the actual black itself won't look completely black. It's be more of a light grey, because the LEDs of the panel itself can't physically turn sections of the monitor off. So you will always get that kind of a grey kind of tinge to the black in the dimming. So it has no local dimming, it's just the edge dimming. Moving on to black uniformity. Now, IPS panels themselves tend to not be the best at black uniformity, simply because they're edge lit. So you will get a lot of, along the edge of the bottom of it, a lot of dark spots mixed with grey spots where the light is bleeding into the panel. Now, being an edge lit IPS panel, which is a bit notorious for being quite not so good for those types of situations, then that might be something that affects you if you are consuming a lot of dark content. But for the everyday user, browsing web, that kind of stuff, editing photos where they're quite colourful anyway, then you're not really going to have that problem. This is more something that you'd probably find an issue with if you are watching a lot of video content or films or movies and that kind of stuff, or you're editing video where it's really dark scenes. Color accuracy from the box is actually quite decent from the Dell U27. You actually get the color calibration factory report, which tells you exactly what
calibration software, hardware it's actually using to calibrate the monitor, and it puts it as close as you can get from the best from the factory for this particular panel for sRGB output, which is what generally most people will be viewing and consuming content on the actual panel itself anyway. So that's really good that it gives you that there. So the color, you probably won't get any better unless you use your own color calibration software and hardware to do it yourself. But for majority of people that you know, that bit of this is kind of priced at for, will be spot on for their kind of use for photo editing, etc. Now this monitor isn't really aimed at gamers themselves, but you can obviously, if you do dabble in a bit of game and you want something that's a bit of both, then you know, depending on the type of games you play, that this could be a good bet. Because the monitor itself is 2560 by 1440, so you do get a really ultra sharp kind of image output on this thing. But the refresh rate is only 60 Hz, so it won't go any higher than that. There's no extra bells and whistles such as you know, NVIDIA G-Sync or AMD FreeSync technology in this. It's just a straight up normal 2560 by 1440 60 Hz panel. Now, if you're playing slower paced games where speed isn't so much of an issue, something like Skyrim or StarCraft 2 or maybe League of Legends, something like that, then you know, this isn't too bad of an option for you. Because you know, they're more single player games and you don't really have to be competitive. If you are playing something like this, however, which is like Overwatch or Counter-Strike Go, something like that, Fortnite, where it's really fast paced, you move the mouse around quite a lot, then this is probably not going to be the best bet for you if that's the more important thing for you, gaming. You're better off going for a gaming panel with more higher refresh rate. However, this one, you know, for the single player games, it's more than fine because it looks really nice with the IPS panel. The colors really pop and looks really good.
So the buttons for the actual monitor itself are located just here on the right hand side, and then here you can press this one, and then it brings up this little widget here, which kind of gives you a bit of shortcuts. So if I open up the main menu here, this is what it looks like with the Dell Ultra Sharp, and it tells you which buttons kind of go where. So obviously this is the stock settings out of the box. We've got 75% brightness and contrast there. You can change your input source from DisplayPort, HDMI, auto select, etc. We've got the color and preset modes. As you can see, it's set to standard RGB. Also we've got here, you know, we've got the response time, normal, etc. You can change all these. Its default settings is language is English, but when you first turn it on, you get to choose what language you want there. And then you can personalize extra stuff, you know, for shortcuts and all that kind of jazz. Others, what we've got here, LCD conditioning, all that kind of, you know, it lets you do the factory reset as well, all in there. So that's what you get in your menu settings.
Overall, I think the Dell U27 is a great IPS panel. Now with Dell, you're getting really good build quality and you get a good warranty as well with them. And the design of the thing is beautiful, looks really great, and looks really sharp on on top of your desk. If you want something a bit more professional looking, not got all these LEDs and bells and whistles that a gaming panel has, then it's a good choice to go for. Bear in mind that it's not the fastest panel in the world, you know, for gaming and stuff like that. So if you're playing slow-paced games, it's fine, something like Skyrim, an RPG. Whereas if you're doing photo or Excel spreadsheets, browsing the web, you know, business use, then it's a great panel for that with its 2560 by 1440 screen resolution and the IPS and the viewing angles. It's really good for an office kind of workspace. So overall, I do recommend it for someone who's after that professional monitor that's kind of a bit of a good all-rounder. Then it's a good panel for that. So thank you for watching my unboxing and quick look at the Dell U2717, is it 17 or 19? U2719D. Please drop a like and subscribe if you found this video useful, and thank you very much.